Coming at you from my parents' basement, this is the Cyberspace Chronicles, where we talk to you about everything Sonic the Hedgehog, from video games, from comic books, from movies, from TV shows. I am your host, Mike.
And I'm Sean.
And today we are going to continue the Year of Shadow, and we're going to talk about Shadow's debut game, Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes, and I have a lot of questions about ghosts.
A lot of questions about ghosts.
I think what we wanted to kind of get into in this episode is talk about a little bit of the background of how Sonic Adventure 2 came to be. And weirdly enough, there's not a lot that people know compared to other Sonic games.
From the bit we've looked into, and we're gonna continue covering more of this game at a later time. We're only recording some of this episode right now, but yeah. I have some general facts laid out. I know you probably did a little more research than I did.
Just a little, yeah.
But I mean, we played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yes.
I played it on Steam. You played it on
a GameCube.
So we didn't get that pure Dreamcast experience.
No. And actually that was sort of what we wanted to get into. So we were actually started looking into this. I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. I think most people probably played the Battle version instead of the Dreamcast version, simply because the Dreamcast was already basically dead in the water when Sonic Adventure 2 came out.
Right.
So there was a guy named Isao Okawa who was he was basically like a chairman on for Sega basically from the 80s. And he actually famously was against, he said, we shouldn't, after the Saturn did really well in Japan. And they were kind of like, we shouldn't do but they still were like, we shouldn't do the Dreamcast. He was like, I think we shouldn't do it. But he actually ended up spending a lot of his own money supporting the Dreamcast, which had not very good sales in Japan. I think it sold much better in the US than it did in Japan, surprisingly. But he also, funny enough, he also paid in Japan, he would pay, if you bought a Dreamcast, they lowered the price. He would pay 1 year of your Phantasy Star Online subscription, out of pocket.
He was a true believer of the Dreamcast.
True believer.
I mean, it was such a great system. I did not have it when it in its heyday, when it was when it just came out and games were actually actively coming out for it. I got a Dreamcast for $75 with 3 2K sports games, I think.
Okay. What year was that? Do you remember?
It was after the game. I think it was after GameCube and all that stuff came out. I can't even exactly remember. I mean, I got it basically to play Sonic Adventure 1, and then they ended up porting Adventure 2 to GameCube anyway.
Yeah, I've got you beat on Dreamcast. I got 2 in 2013 for $30 each.
Oh wow. That's a good deal.
Yeah, but I actually I remember the first time I ever saw a Dreamcast was at a friend of mine's house, and he had Sonic Adventure 1, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then, years later, I saw Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube, and I snatched it up and I played it and just loved it.
See, I remember the commercials for Sonic Adventure 2, the ones where it's 2 hedgehogs and they're having them race. And it was like, this is a good hedgehog, and this is the evil hedgehog.
The weird tests on them or whatever.
Yeah, it got me so I was a huge Sonic kid on the Genesis, and I remember seeing both adventure games when they were coming out, the previews for them, and I didn't have a Saturn, I didn't have a Dreamcast, and I was just like, this looks like the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play this fully 3D realized Sonic so bad. And Shadow, he's this very mysterious character. They made this new rival for Sonic. This evil hedgehog. I was like, I really want to play these games, and I had to get that Dreamcast just to play Adventure 1, and I was going to get Adventure 2 also, but then they ended up just porting it, so I got it on GameCube.
Yeah, I guess to finish the story real quick. So basically, it's all good. In the year 2000, in May, this Okawa guy became the president of Sega.
Yeah,
and they kind of internally were like, all right, the Dreamcast is just not selling. We keep doing price cuts. It's just not
right.
It's not working. So they basically made the decision to go to third party development. So they announced this on January 31st, 2001. So very early into 2001, they said, all right, the Dreamcast is done. We're going to become a third-party dev. Sonic Adventure 2 came out June 19th, 2001 on the Dreamcast.
Right.
And I think it was like 6 months later was Battle. So that kind of shows you, even while they were working on Sonic Adventure 2, they knew
what was
they
up.
were making it for a dead console. So that's kind of interesting. And I guess later on when we get into the story, there's some of that I think shines through in the story, especially when you look at
the story of the actual game.
Yes, the story of the game. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll get into that later, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to the development of this game.
Sure.
Because again, we're gonna come back to the game in general when we do the dark story and the final story. But there's like a lot that we need to cover. I think.
Sure.
That we haven't completely done our research for, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So do we want to dive into what we think of the hero story?
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. What's your overall thoughts?
So I think, and I don't know if we haven't talked about this, obviously. I kind of feel like people give the hero side a bad rap nowadays.
Now, before we really begin,
yeah,
how long has it been since you played this game? It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
That kind of feeds into how I feel
that's
about
a good
this.
point.
It's been,
yeah.
I played this religiously as a kid. I was about, I would say I was about a preteen when it was 2001. So
yeah, so we were in like 5th grade, I want to say.
Yeah. So I think the last time I played it might have been over 10 years ago or something like that, at least.
It was a while for me. I definitely probably played it in college, but looking back, I'm thinking about it. I pretty much just would replay the final battle over and over again. I didn't necessarily play all the levels a lot. I just played the final battle.
The final battle was
because it's cool. Yeah. So I the last time I probably played through the entire game, it might have been 20 years ago. Okay,
I feel like I did play through the game. I think I remember the last time I played it was I was helping a friend emblem hunt.
Okay,
so
sure.
I think that might have been the last thing I did, my last experience with it. But no, yeah, let's go back to overall thoughts.
Yeah, so I know that like nowadays I think it's pretty popular to be like, oh, the hero story doesn't make any sense. It's like the characters are just running around doing stuff and reacting to things. And like that's true, but I was kind of thinking about it. I kind of like it that way because they don't know what's happening, but because they're trying to help people, they're just rolling with the punches and trying their best to deal with the situation as it happens.
Yeah, I kind of see that.
And I like the idea that you're really confused about what's going on, and then when you play the dark storyline, because like, there must be somebody, but like nobody was playing the dark storyline first. Everyone wanted to play Sonic first, right?
I would think so. Well, I mean, I feel like again we haven't played the dark story yet. But I remember the first level of the dark story as an Eggman level.
Yes.
Where I feel like City Escape is probably the one that would draw you in first.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
But so like, I like the idea that at first you're playing as the heroes. You're like, I have no clue what's going on. I don't understand the story. I don't know why we're doing all this stuff. And then later when you play the dark story, you're like, oh, that's why that all makes sense. I sort of like the idea of that. And I think in this game, I think it works for, this isn't the greatest story of all time or anything, but I think it's solid and it works.
Yeah. I don't really have too many issues. Well, okay. I have a couple issues with the story, but so should we get into spoilers? Should we just? I mean, it's
full spoilers for the hero story.
It's how old is the game now?
23 years old.
Yeah, 23 years old. So it's spoilers for 23-year-old game.
Yeah.
So the one thing that bothered me going back, and I never really thought about this as a kid, when they get to the pyramid, they're like, "Oh, there's a space shuttle here," and it's like, wait. How do they know there's a space shuttle here? Then Sonic has a line and he's like, he's Eggman. He has to have a couple space shuttles. And it's like, all right. I even like looked up the dark story and I watched a couple cutscenes because I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. I was like, did they ever mention like building like a launch site with like shuttles and stuff? And it's like, no. It's just there for like, I think it's just there to be convenient for the plot. Like they had to get Sonic and everyone into space, and they had to get Knuckles to spill the emeralds again on the Ark.
Right.
So it did feel a little like, there's just a random space shuttle here with a random launch site inside a pyramid, and it's just complete setup.
I do like to imagine that in between games, Eggman's just running around like building random bases somewhere just for fun, well, just in case he ever needs it.
The funny thing is that the space shuttles don't even look like Eggman space shuttles. They look like regular,
they're just
NASA
regular
style.
I wonder if that's just because of the art direction where they were trying to make it very realistic in the two adventure games.
The other funny thing, and I wrote that down in my notes, is that there's an announcer like counting down the launch. I'm like, who's this guy? Did Eggman hire a guy?
He just hired some guy. I do think and we'll get into this more in the Dark story, but like I do think like this is one of my favorite Eggman character, the way they characterize him.
Oh yeah.
And I do like to think maybe he is just running around building bases and hiring actors and stuff just for just for the hell of it.
He's so serious business in this. Like he blows up the moon, and I still like, it's over the top, but I still think that's like one of the coolest things he's ever done.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
And like the whole scene where he tries to kill Sonic. I mean, you said you didn't finish the hero.
I didn't finish it this time around.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
But that scene where he tries to kill Sonic is still like, man, he's really got an edge to him in this game, and I kind of appreciate it. I like Goofy Eggman. I think he's a very funny character, but man, he's just all business in this one.
Yeah, I think. And you also see a really human side of him, and I guess that's what I really like about his outing this time.
And we'll get more of that. In the Dark story, but I guess. Mostly we're focused on the hero side.
Yeah, so we barely see Eggman.
How did you feel about the voice acting? I thought it was it was cool coming back and seeing this old cast that's been gone for a while. I have to say, and I don't want to hate on children voice actors because they're children.
Right. But they're not children anymore.
They're not children anymore. Connor Bringus, who plays Tails, look, he was a kid at the time, but that's a very rough performance. It's very stilted. The line delivery. There was this scene where he's on the Ark and he's describing what the Ark is, and it's very much, it sounds like a kid reading like what the adults told him off of a list.
Yeah.
And it, again, he's a kid. I'm not gonna fault him on that, but it is like. And also, we know that at least with Adventure 1, and I think it's the same with. It's probably was the same with this game.
Similar. Yeah.
A lot of the voice acting conditions were not very good.
Yeah, they'd have like one take.
They filmed it in like they recorded it in a closet or something like that, and I think they didn't have like a lot of context for what the scenes were, what was going on.
For sure.
I think I might have been Ryan Drummond. I'll have to do some research. I'll come back with some research.
I think that's correct.
Ryan Drummond, who's the voice of Sonic, he said something like it was just not good. Like
they just didn't know what
was going on. They shoved us in a closet and they didn't tell us what was going on in the scenes.
Yeah. And actually, I even wrote down at the beginning some of Eggman's first lines in the beginning of the game. He just sounds very like disinterested in everything that's going on. You're just like, oh, okay.
It's Dean Bristow, who he unfortunately passed away after Sonic Heroes. I think I personally think we've never had a bad Eggman voice actor.
I agree with that.
I think say what you want about the Sonic voice acting. I know a lot of people have strong opinions on like who's their favorite Sonic, and I don't like this Sonic for this reason and all that. But Dr. Eggman's always been pretty consistent.
Good. Yeah, I agree with that.
I never really seen many people complain about an Eggman performance. I mean, right now we have Mike Pollock, who he's kind of cemented himself as definitive
he's the definitive Eggman for sure.
Because he's been doing it for so long now.
And he's just really good at it. And he does the goofy and the serious both, I think.
But I did like Dean Bristow's performance back in these games. I like the Rouge. Let me get all the voice actors. So we got Ryan Drummond as Sonic, David Humphrey as Shadow, Connor Bringus as Tails, Scott Dreyer as Knuckles, Dean Bristow as Eggman, and Lanny Minella as Rouge, and Jennifer Dollard as Amy Rose. I think this might be one of my favorite Rouge voices. We just watched Sonic Prime also. We watched the first 8 episodes.
Yes.
I have strong opinions on that Rouge voice also, but I think this is up there for me. I like this sound for Rouge.
Yeah, and she's obviously the original, so you get to see, I think she kind of set the tone for the character, and then when we played Dream Team, the voice in that was very strange.
We were in the Cream and Rouge and Sonic Dream Team were a little iffy.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah, I agree, and I always forget how much I like Rouge until she shows up, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's like a great character. I like seeing her.
Yeah, I generally like Rouge too. I think she's basically like the Catwoman of the Sonic world, and she kind of adds that like that morally dubious, like she's a hero, but like not really kind of.
She's
element.
Like a CIA agent.
It's
basically.
It's nice to have. It's kind of like a neutral character.
Yeah.
So, should we get into like the levels, and then maybe we'll go through the game in like chronological order?
That's fine. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That'll. I have some questions that we can.
I think that'll be like the most organized way to approach this. So, the game starts. Sonic is mistaken for Shadow. Yes. And he's captured by Gon, and he's being arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I know the joke in the fandom is like, how does everyone mistake Sonic for Shadow?
I mean, they look exactly alike.
They're both hedgehogs. They both have quills. I mean,
right.
Come on. I did read. I don't know where exactly I read this, so I'm sorry if I'm not giving someone their proper credit. But there was a fun theory I read online where Gun is just racist against hedgehogs or Mobians or Nermies or whatever you want to call them, and they just wanted to cover up the fact that like our top secret government project got loose, and also they wanted to have an excuse to arrest Sonic, so they just like basically lied that they mistaked Sonic for Shadow, and they just arrested Sonic as a cover up.
I know that was definitely not the intention.
That's not the intention.
I like that idea.
But it's a fun like way to like band-aid that. And then also we have in Archie Sonic, they have like Sigma Alpha 2. They're the ones who arrested Sonic in this game.
That's right.
They were kind of like assholes. They were just kind of they were like, because all the humans in that comic are like, they're kind of racist.
Right. Yes, that was a huge plot point. No, I think but I know like I think it was Iizuka was kind of saying like, I do want to make a game where like one of the themes was like fakeness, falsehood, having it be like, the idea was that there was this like dark Sonic and people didn't know which one was which, and that was what they wanted to do. I could see like if if it was dark out maybe, but it's like broad daylight half the time, so who knows. You just got to go with the video game logic.
They just look so similar. I mean,
they do. They're both hedgehogs.
So let's start with like City Escape.
Yes.
I think this might be the best Sonic level in the game.
Yeah.
And it's a very strong. I think it's one of the best levels in the game, like probably flat out.
I mean, it's probably even in the top of like Sonic levels, period, right? It's up there, right?
It's so iconic.
It's probably one of the best ones ever.
And I would rank it high on Sonic's levels personally. I don't know if it's like between this and Final Rush for me.
Okay.
I think are the two I might like the most. But I think this does such a good job of introducing you to the game. Like
yes.
You get it you get that like set piece in the beginning, and it's the iconic snowboarding part, which which Sonic, is very cool. Sonic and snowboards always go together.
Absolutely.
This is along with the Sonic 3 snowboarding. This is the two best we've ever had of that.
Yeah.
Not that we've had a lot of it, but then you get like it's very linear, but like a lot of the game's very linear. But like you get a lot of like area to like kind of practice the game and like learn the different ropes and
learn your homing attacks.
Learn the grind rails. I do
really like that they set up the grind rails, and this is not a new. Everyone has commented on this, but it's still cool. Like you have the one grind rail, and you're like, oh, cool, I can do this. And then there's like the two like hooked together, and you figure out you can jump. Like they do such a good job, and it's just you're just like soaping down like a handrail.
Right.
It's not just appearing in random space for no reason. It was just cool that like they really were intentional about the level and made it so you're like actually you feel like you're doing parkour.
In this one, I feel like in some levels that doesn't really hold
not
true
always,
in later
but in this
levels.
one they do.
But yes, this level everything kind of feels like natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if for the most part it feels like you're in a regular city, except for the fact that there is a loop-de-loop at one point.
Well, you know,
it's Sonic,
right?
But
yeah, I guess now's a good time to mention. Obviously, so Sonic Team moved to San Francisco for the production of this game.
Yeah.
You can tell it's very obvious that he's in San Francisco. Even to the point there's it's towards the end of the level. There's like a little kind of like it's not like a car, but it's like a little like little vehicle, I guess that apparently is what San Francisco police would ride around in to write people tickets, and apparently they would members on the team would illegally park and they get parking tickets and they got really mad, so they put that in the game so they could destroy it at the end of the level, which is kind of funny.
It's funny. Let's see. It's the song too. It's just pure bliss. I was singing along with it as I was going through.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Are you one of those players that like actively avoid the cars and try to be like,
no,
I'm not going to
try to destroy as many as I can,
or just like and have them fly and just be chaotic?
Yeah, I try to destroy as much stuff as I can.
Like Sonic's a complete menace. Like that. He deserved to be arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like this is almost like I feel like I'm playing GTA, like I'm causing so many millions of dollars in property damage, like snowboarding down this the streets of San Francisco.
So I do want to talk about this. When you first started, since it's been a while since we played, and that's why I wanted to like it's been a while since we played.
Yeah.
Did you have like trouble getting like a hang of the controls again after so long? I felt like he feels a lot more weighted than he is in like the modern games. Like going from
that's
like
probably true.
Frontiers to this,
it was very different.
It did take me a little bit to get the hang of it again. And also the homing attack is way different. It's a little more, I don't want to say it's unreliable, but it is, you have to be a little more deliberate with where you aim it.
Yes. I think the main issue is probably the camera.
Yeah.
And no one's going to say the camera in this game is good. It aged really poorly.
This is the game's main fault, is the camera by far.
But to be fair, we played 3D games in the 90s. The cameras were not good in any of them. To be like, to be fair to Sonic Adventure 2.
And again, specify, we did play the battle version. If there's any differences, I know there's differences between this and the Dreamcast version. I played the Steam version, you played the GameCube version.
Right.
All these versions have their minor quirks and stuff.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, if anyone's screaming at us like, oh, you played the wrong version, that's why this didn't behave the way you like.
Yeah. Well, you should have put it on a console that wasn't already dead.
Like I could have modded Adventure 2 and made it like a little bit better, but like I didn't want to mod it. I just kind of want to
play
I wanted the pure experience.
Yeah, and if we want to come back later, maybe we can play the
we
Dreamcast
could do like a mod
version
and then talk about the different mods that people put out.
Yeah. I do think and I know someone's going to disagree with me, but I think generally because I think Battle is like the version most people play.
Yeah.
Only cuz it's the most accessible probably.
Yeah.
But, whereas obviously Dreamcast with Sonic Adventure 1
and it's the most available.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't know. But I do think like I always forget that in Adventure 2 you have to balance on the grind rails.
Yeah.
I always forget that.
They took that away in the later ones.
Yeah, because it sucks.
They take it away as soon as Heroes, really.
Because it's horrible. Yeah. It was a horrible idea.
If you don't try too hard to balance him, it's actually easier.
I did find out if I just let my finger off the stick, it was much easier.
So you have that crouch mechanic, which like speeds you up.
Yeah.
I find it easy to not crouch like during like turns. If you kind of crouch just during the straight and then like let go during turns,
I'll have to try that next time.
It's kind of where I found the most success.
I am dreading the grind rail level with Shadow. I remember as a kid.
Well, the grind rail level with Sonic that you got to do.
That I remember the Shadow one being the absolute worst for me as a kid.
Okay.
I remember like throwing the controller and be like, I'm done.
Final Chase, I think is the Shadow one.
It's one where he's in one of the canyons.
Oh, Skyrail.
Yeah, Skyrail.
I thought you were talking about the space level.
No, those were not as bad for me as that one. I don't know.
Because Shadow's version of Final Rush is a little different. Like it's a little more. You're climbing like gravity cylinders.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I liked that one.
City Escape. We'll finish it up real quick. The truck part. I got the big cameo with him running behind the truck.
If I remember correctly, he is not in the GameCube
they take him
version.
out.
He's out of the GameCube version.
He still has cameos in the GameCube version, because I remember as a kid, I could make him appear during the Knuckles Rouge cutscene at the end of the game. Like if you press buttons, he appears or something.
Okay.
But I think they took him out of City Escape.
Yeah, I think so too. Because
but he's in this for the Steam version I played.
But they put him back in the Steam version. Okay.
What can you say about the truck part? It's iconic.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a great set piece. It's one of the coolest.
It's
one of the coolest set pieces Sonic's ever had.
It's better than being chased by a killer whale for no reason.
Yeah.
Just throwing out an example, not to throw shade, but
Gun's just completely destroying the city.
Yeah, whatever.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They have to catch this blue hedgehog.
Yeah, they have to catch the fake hedgehog. No, but yeah, City Escape is just a great level.
What'd you think of the first boss? I didn't have really have much thoughts on it. You just whack a guy.
You just learn how to play the game, yeah, and it's fine. I like the idea that you fight him and that he's easy, because it shows how the government is not going to be able to help. Sonic is going to be the one who has, just like in real life.
Yeah, I was like, Sonic's more realistic than we thought.
Yes. No, I think it really helps you be like, all right, Sonic is the only person who can save the world this time.
Yeah.
And it's cool that the government's out against him, and you're like, oh, like, I wonder why at that, before you know what the story is. And it's just a cool way to start the game, I think.
So then we get the cutscene where Sonic meets Shadow.
Yes.
I always like that cutscene. I will have to say this, what I don't like about the cutscenes, and I never liked it even when I was a kid, is the sound mixing's not good.
Oh, no.
And they kind of layer the lines over each other, so they kind of interrupt each other and talk over each other.
Yeah, they do.
It's pretty bad sometimes.
It's interesting. I recently played Sonic Adventure in Japanese. I probably should have played Adventure 2 in Japanese a little bit. I think some of it is issues where they have to rip the Japanese dub out and put the English dub in, and that's difficult to do. That's part of it. But it is just awkward in general as well. Yeah. So it's like it's kind of compounding a lot of issues together. But this one is way better than like Sonic Adventure, I think.
With like the voice recording?
Just everything.
Yeah.
Just all the mixing in general is just better.
True. I mean, when we play Sonic Adventure, I guess we can compare them.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I played that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think that I think it's decently good for the time. Honestly, because there's so much worse out there, right? Like outside of Sonic.
So we get to Wild Canyon. This is the first Knuckles level.
Yes.
This is the point where I was like, oh god, the camera's awful. Like, I was like, because this is the first point in the game where they give you like the control of the camera.
Yeah.
I almost preferred it when the camera was fixed, even though I do have problems with that too, because there was moments in the game where like the camera's fixed and it wants to stay in a certain position, and then you want to do like a certain movement, and it like kind of fights against like what you want to do. But when I got to like the free camera, I was like, oh god, like it's going everywhere. It's chaotic. I have to, like, after playing the game for a while, I got used to it. I got like kind of it under control, but it is rough at first,
especially coming in from where nowadays you have two thumbsticks and one is purely to control the camera. They didn't have that back in the day, so
I found the camera works better in open areas.
Yeah,
when it's in tight areas,
that's where
it bumps up against the geometry of the level.
For sure.
It just doesn't like behave.
Yeah, I thought it was okay in Wild Canyon. It was fine.
Yeah, well, because Wild Canyon kind of is mostly open,
right?
So my thoughts on Wild Canyon is, I don't know. I feel kind of bad, but putting it on the bottom of my Knuckles levels, I think. But I'm only doing that because I think there's not a lot going on in this level. It's purely because it's very small.
Yeah.
And
it's a tutorial level for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
But I just don't like, compared to his later levels, I just don't find it that interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I like the music. I
love all the Knuckles.
I love that it's kind of Halloween themed for some reason. There's the pumpkins everywhere.
Well, that's Pumpkin Hill you're thinking of.
Oh,
I'm thinking of Wild Canyon.
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
You're thinking of...
I completely forgot about Wild Canyon.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
that's
no.
what I mean. There's not a lot going on there.
No.
You forgot about it.
I forgot about it. I played it like last night. Oops.
Wild Canyon's the one where it's like one underground room, and then there's the wind tunnel that shoots you up.
That's right.
And then there's
my gosh.
There's an upper level where there's like 2 paths to go down.
I'm just not going to say anything else because I just forgot it existed.
It's a tutorial level. There's just not super a lot going on. So I know the treasure hunting levels are kind of controversial. I personally don't mind them too much.
I agree. I think they're fine. Is anybody going to argue that it wouldn't be better if you could track all 3 at once?
Well, that's what I was literally going to say that because in Sonic Adventure 1 you can.
You can. I think that would have been better. I think no one disagrees with that, but it's not there. Now, when we get in later to some of the Knuckles levels, as a kid, I spent over 20 minutes on some of them, but I think this kind of leads into something I do want to say about the game itself. I do think the game really is trying to encourage you to replay levels and really get to know them in a way that I kind of like and kind of dislike.
Well, especially because it takes that approach where you can't get certain upgrades until you come back.
Exactly.
You have to kind of backtrack in this game, and they kind of expect you to come back and try the other missions out. I think. And
as a kid, I never did that.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it. I did it with friends when I was a kid. I did.
Sure.
We A ranked the whole game.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I want to do that this time.
I don't know if I ever did it by myself, and I am going to probably do it by myself this time.
Yeah, I think we should try to.
By the way, I did A rank every mission that I played.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not I didn't A rank the whole game, but I A ranked all the main mission 1 of every level.
I pretty much got E ranks
and a lot of them I did it on the first try. I actually was surprised generally how much I remember from this game.
Yeah.
So I was kind of impressed with myself.
Yeah,
I did a pretty good job.
But again, I never replayed the levels as a kid at all.
Yeah.
I just replayed the final battle.
Oh, I played this game a dozen times as a kid. I erased the file, started it over again.
I had one. I think I actually had my save file from 2005.
Yeah.
But I never replayed the levels, so that'll be something I'm gonna definitely look into. But I like that you kind of figure out the gimmick for the Knuckles level, and you can do it much faster. And as you get the clue boxes from the computer, you'll be like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, I know where that is.
So if you want to get an A rank in the Knuckles levels, you're not supposed to use the clues.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they actually take your score. They take your score away.
Okay.
If you want to get perfects, you have to get the emerald without looking up the clues.
Okay.
The way I do it generally is I kind of glide around as Knuckles and just make a big circle around a level and just try to catch something on my radar.
Interesting. Okay.
That's kind of
so that would have been better if you could have all 3 then.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. Okay. It would make it easier, but at the same, it would make it less stressful. Right. At the same time.
Yeah. Are there time requirements for his? I guess there are, right?
Yeah. The faster you get the emeralds, the higher the score is.
Oh, okay. And it's just the ranks are based on score.
Yeah, and rings too. So more rings you get, the
more rings.
You have to hold on to the rings. If you lose the rings,
okay. All right, cool. I'll have to mess around.
There was a couple Sonic missions where I was like, oh, I beat it really fast, and then I got a B rank, and I was like, what's going on? And I looked up someone's tutorials online, Zen Demo. I was looking at his YouTube channel, and he was saying he collects a lot of rings, and he was emphasizing you got to collect rings. And I remember I was like, man, I just want to go fast. I don't want to collect rings. Right. But it does help if you get a good nice stash of rings and you get to the goal.
So it's not like Sonic Adventure where you have to get through as fast as possible.
I guess so. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember.
Interesting.
Well, Sonic Adventure didn't really have rankings. I think it was
they didn't have rankings, but there were the missions where you had to get through in a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Those were the last missions I think for each level.
Okay. I think that's it for Wild Canyon. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Prison Lane, I think is Tails' first level.
Yes.
So first you get that little cutscene with him flying to Prison Island. I know one of the I was like looking up things like people found weird about the plot, and like one of the things someone said was like, how did Amy like get to Prison Island without like how is she just there?
She took the ferry.
Well, like first off, she's looking for Sonic. She's going to find a way to get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Amy tracking Sonic.
She used her tarot card double jump float.
Yeah. And also in Sonic Adventure 1, we see her taking a boat to the egg carrier when it crashes into the water. So she took a boat. Like, just don't really have to think too hard about it. That's one of the things I'm not going to give the game crap about.
No, and I do think it is worth mentioning, obviously, Prison Island was based on Alcatraz. So she just bought a tour.
Yeah. Yeah, she went to San Francisco and she got the tour to Alcatraz.
Got the tour to Alcatraz. Yeah. You know, what's the issue?
It's actually a good point that it's based on Alcatraz because it is the whole San Francisco theme.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. So that Eggman fight, it's just, you just hit him a couple times.
That one's very simple. And it's over fast.
I think nice. A lot of the boss fights in this game are simple and easy. There is one that I think is a little involved.
Okay.
Well, you're looking at me like I had a hard time.
I'll wait until we get to it.
All right, I'll wait till we get to it.
You can guess which boss it was.
I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Prison Lane. I thought Prison Lane was a pretty good Tales
it's fine.
level.
It's fast.
It's actually probably towards my bottom though.
Yeah.
There's one level that's under it, and we'll get to that. I think you probably know which one it is.
Yeah, the Tails shooting stuff, I remember as a kid, it just being like, oh, these are fast.
So the way I felt about it is when I was a kid, I was like, the Sonic and Shadow levels are the best.
Yeah.
The Tails and Eggman levels are the second best, and then I don't like the Treasure Hunter. And then as time went, I was like, I like the treasure hunting a little more.
I do too.
There was a period where I hated the shooting levels. I was like, I don't like the Tails and Eggman levels.
I don't necessarily like them.
But coming back to this, like, I didn't think it was like I didn't think it was so bad. I don't know if I still like the treasure. Yeah. I think I still like the treasure hunting more.
I found for some reason when I was playing in its every Tails level, there is a certain platforming part, and I don't know. I was just hitting it the wrong. I don't know. I would just fall down like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
I don't know. Only time I lost lives were in Tails levels. I don't know why. Maybe I just wasn't being careful. I don't know. But there was always a part. Like there's a part I think where you have to jump like on a couple crates. And for whatever reason, I just hit it the wrong way and fell and died. So the camera betrayed me.
We should mention that this game is pretty janky.
Yeah.
Like, I like really janky. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the game's glitchy. I don't think the game's glitchy, but it is janky.
I agree with that.
Very, like, there's a lot of weird behavior with, like, the geometry
It's not as bad as the Sonic Adventure 1 DX port, but it's up there.
There's very few things that are worse than the DX port.
Right.
But
there's always something where I'm like, or I got confused, or I like didn't know what I was doing, and I think I was also used to having the rocket upgrade, which obviously you don't get till later in the game. You don't get that so that might have been part of it too. Right. So,
Prison Lane I thought was okay. It suffers from the problem of being like a little claustrophobic.
Yes, I agree.
Which it makes it hard with the working
camera.
You have
a huge mech.
Yeah.
In a tiny hallway.
Yeah, and when we're on the subject of like things we liked from Adventure 1 better, I think I prefer like Gamma and the way he moved more than the mechs in this.
I think I agree with that too.
It's very clunky and very slow.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but
it makes sense in the sense that you're piloting a giant mech. It should be clunky and slow, I guess, but it's not necessarily fun as Gamma.
And the funny thing is, I always saw they put Tails in the Cyclone just as an excuse for him to fight Eggman because they have to have the same gameplay.
Right.
But like I generally think like it kind of does make a little sense with him storming this military base that he has some like heavy artillery with him.
Yeah, I will say this is another one of those fun facts. The original plan, as far as we know, for Sonic Adventure 2, there were going to be 3 playable characters. So that was Sonic, Knuckles, and Eggman.
Yes.
So apparently the rumor is, and nobody knows this for sure, fans were mad when they showed that off. And they said, why can't we play as Tails?
Okay.
So the predominant theory is that they added in Tails and they just gave him
some of
Eggman's gameplay because they didn't know what else to do.
I wonder,
which would explain a lot.
If that version came out, I wonder if Tails would. I mean, I'm sure Tails
he would have been in
the
it,
game,
but not playable.
But I wonder what he would have done. I wonder if he would have had Amy's role.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's so the other thing is like, and this is you'll see where they did this eventually, but the original idea was to have branching paths and levels.
Okay.
So that depending on what you did, you would go a certain way in the story and play as a certain character. That's
interesting.
So I like the idea. It sounds really cool. But we don't, we'll get that later in the actual Sonic Adventure 3.
Okay.
The game that we all know is the true Sonic Adventure 3.
Oh, it's definitely coming out any day now.
No, I mean the one that already came out. What the true Sonic Adventure 3, which we will talk about.
Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed. There could be any number of games you're referring to.
And you won't know until we get there. It's going to be a mystery.
Should I be afraid?
Yes, I'd be very afraid.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I have anything to add about Prison Lane. Yeah. I do have things to add about the next level, though. Oh, I do want to touch this because we get the cutscene where Amy is freeing Sonic from the prison.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hilarious the way, because again, I've been mostly dabbling with like modern Sonic stuff, like Frontiers, Dream Team, watching Prime, reading IDW.
Yeah.
Amy's very like in the group in the new stuff, and she's very like they trust her to like do things and pull her weight, and they bring her along. In this game, they're like, "Nah, Amy, you suck. You're just a weak girl. Like we're just gonna run out without you." Like they would not treat Amy this way that they treat her in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the third game she's ever been in, right?
Ever been in? No.
I think so, right?
No, she's in CD. She's in Fighters.
Oh,
she's in R.
I'm counting.
Unless you want to count
mainline games.
Okay,
mainline games. Sorry.
CD. Yeah, I guess if you CD Adventure 2.
Yeah, that's so. It's she's still a new-ish character if you think about it that way, and they don't know her well yet.
Yeah,
she's still in her like I love Sonic phase, which obviously disappears.
Yeah, she's definitely very fangirl in this game.
Yeah, so
this
I don't know.
This is the heyday of fangirl Amy.
Oh yeah. And this is the Amy that I always knew growing up. I always really liked Amy.
This is I think Adventure 1. I don't want to say it's my first exposure to Amy because I feel like I did play Sonic CD on the PC.
Mine is definitely Adventure 1.
But Adventure 1 was like Adventure 1 and 2 were like the time where I was like, oh, I got to know her as a character.
Yeah, exactly.
If I did play CD, I mean, she's only in that for like
3 seconds.
A couple,
yeah.
She's barely in that. And she's kidnapped most of the time. So it's funny they just leave her behind, and then we go on to Metal Harbor, which I think this might be my least favorite of the Sonic levels. I don't know how you
That's
feel.
Interesting. I really like this one.
Oh, really?
I find this one really fun. It's really fast.
It's
you really
fast.
Feel like you're going fast.
Okay, so what I don't like about it is that I don't think there's a lot going on in this level.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of like running forward, homing attack chain, just
and then light speed dash.
A lot of like there's a lot of loops where you're just kind of just watching the game play itself a little bit. I think the big thing in the game is the set piece at the end where you're running up the rocket and trying to catch on the rocket. Now look, I do say that this might be my least favorite of his levels, but I did have fun trying to get the A rank.
Okay.
But I was also getting very frustrated because I was trying to get to the top of that rocket. If you didn't know, there's two. You can go higher. You can like keep climbing the rocket, and there's a second part you can grab onto. And it's the timing is very, very tight.
Nice.
And there's a few tricks. Like yes, I know there's a few speedrunning tricks where you can like spin dash, you can jump, and you can fly up to the top of the structure. I tried that a couple times and I didn't really nail it, so I just kind of.
Okay, that's cool. So I guess you get a lot of extra points if you do the second one.
Yeah, you get. I think you get an extreme bonus. I think, which is like 1,000 points.
Okay.
So I mean, that's how I A ranked it. That was one of the levels I kind of had a hard time A ranking. I had to keep replaying it.
I want to replay it. I guess what I like about this, because you get light speed dash in this level.
Yes.
Way better than in the first game.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Because you don't have to charge it.
It is just satisfying to hit B and just fly through the air with all those rings. Like, it's just fun.
Okay.
Like, it's a fun, fast level that makes you feel like, wow, this is really cool.
Look, it's not the worst. I'm not saying it's not the worst Sonic level ever made.
Yeah,
like
sure.
there's in this franchise, we've had a lot of like low quality level layouts. But I don't know. I just think of the Sonic levels in this game. I think this might be my least favorite.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I like all of them, I guess is the way to say that. Okay, I agree with that.
I want to check my notes to see if I have anything to say about this. I just think a lot of homing attack chains, a lot of light dash rings. It's kind of fun to speed run. I mentioned all these. I do think the music's pretty good.
Yeah,
I do like the trumpets. It's kind of has that guitar, which kind of evokes that feeling of like, oh, it's at a beach. Well, it's not at a beach, but it's like at a seaside. It's on an island,
right? And
then it's got the trumpets, which kind of has that evokes the military feel.
Yeah, I think
so. The music's pretty good. I think it kind of synergizes the vibe of the level pretty well.
Yeah.
We get then we go into the first Sonic versus Shadow fight.
Yes, this was the boss fight I had trouble with.
This is a cut. So I do want to say the cutscene. Oh, this is the one you had trouble with.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be another one.
No, it was this one.
I was wrong. I do want to say the cutscene before that very bad with the talking over each other.
Oh yeah.
I do think the one Shadow line's a little awkward where he goes, "Faker, I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
Yeah.
You comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough to be my fake." I think that line should be delivered, "Faker, I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. And you, comparing yourself to me. Ha! You're not even good enough to be my fake." I think they just kind of have that "and you" would make it a little more flow a little bit better.
I wonder if some of that was just the way the like mouth movement stuff matching it.
Yeah.
That might be the reason.
I don't know. It might be. I just think it's kind of like weird how he establishes like he's like, "Oh, like you're the fake one," but like, "Oh, you're not even the same." Then in the next line, he's like, "You're not even in the same league as me. You're not even my fake." Like, it's just like, if he had that like, "And you're not even like you comparing yourself to me." It's like, how dare you? Like, never mind. You're not even, you're trash.
Yeah.
Sonic, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm being a little nitpicky. I know it's very nitpicky, but it's just
but like, this is the iconic line that.
Yeah, just an observation I was making. But this is the one you had trouble with, the boss fight.
So yeah, because I always forget that you have to try in these ones. Because in Sonic Adventure 1 you don't have to try. So I immediately tried to do a homing attack on him, and I just flew off the edge.
That's when I said the homing attack, you got to be a little more precise where you aim it, because this homing attack will you'll fly off like edges of things if you use it wrong.
And actually, I guess this is where I should mention. This is also, I believe, the debut of Omo Chow.
It is,
and
she's voiced by the same actress as Rouge,
right? And I do love that when you're not sure what to do, she comes and helps you out. And I really like that when you die like 3 times against Shadow because you weren't paying attention, you're trying to beat it as fast as you could. She's like, "Just get him from behind." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can do that."
Yeah, all the Sonic versus Shadow fights, you just have to
hit him from behind.
Which is fun. I always thought that was funny because you got to hit them in their spiky quill parts.
Of course, yeah.
But that's their weak point apparently.
No, I like I think I did always like, because as a kid I was stupid and didn't know how to play. Apparently not much has changed, but I always like when you accidentally, like the two of you are just swirling around each other.
Yeah. That didn't happen to me this time, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, I just like, I wish the arena were a little bit bigger, I guess. And then you wouldn't have those times when you just fly off of Shadow and just like get thrown into the bottomless pit. So.
I didn't have too much of a problem with this one this time. I think I just beat him really fast and I just kept going.
Yeah.
But I agree. It is kind of a small battlefield. The next level I actually like a lot.
Yeah.
For a while when I was going through the game, I ranked it pretty high. I do like Green Forest.
Yeah,
I think it's got a good
level,
good blend of speed, platforming. Mm-hmm. It kind of does all those things.
And I like that it rewards you for going outside like the normal, correct way, I guess.
There's a couple this game's not really strong in like branching paths. It doesn't really have that. It usually kind of has different like platforms that like small areas that you can kind of like approach
like shortcuts,
different parts from.
I guess.
Yeah, like small shortcuts.
And I like I think this level rewards you get to jump on top of the log, or you get to go on a vine grind rail, or like you get to do something a little bit different to go through a little bit faster. I like that.
Yeah, and you can kind of abuse the spin dash in this one, which is kind of fun.
That's what I did, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I have much to say about this one, just besides I really liked it. I like the platforming parts. I like the part where you're inside the tree trunk and you're climbing up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just a
good
level.
One.
There is actually a couple branching paths that like there's one early on where you can go up high or you can go down low, and there's like a little bit of a little. It's not a long path, but it's something, and I appreciate when there's something.
Yeah.
You know? It's not Sonic Generations level, but I at least I like that they added something there. Then they blow up the island, and then we go into the city part. I feel like the city section of the game is kind of like the mid game lull a little bit. Yeah, it's not like it's not. Well, there's one level in particular. Like I'm like they could have thrown this out completely, but we'll get to that. But it's not like bad because the next level's Mission Street, which I actually kind of like. But before we get to that, we get the cutscene where Eggman blows up the moon. Yes, we talked about how cool that was. That was fun.
I love in the background. It's like Eggman is smart, Eggman is wise, Eggman is cool.
I'm glad you brought that up because I slowed it down. Nice. I wanted to see what was like actually in there that they wrote.
I was reading that more than I was listening to what he was talking about.
Did I? Oh yeah. All I could find was I am a genius. I am great. I am brilliant. I am smart. I am wise. I am an emperor. I am great.
Yeah.
I said that.
And all of those sentences are true.
It's true. Yeah. And then Robotnik Empire, not Eggman Empire.
Oh,
I was like, that's
interesting.
Doesn't sound as good as Eggman.
No, Eggman Empire sounds better.
Yeah.
But this is, I guess, the beginning of his.
And then there's some kanji there too.
It was just the same stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't find any like translation.
I want to say it was written in another language too, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
This is also the basis of the. I don't know if you ever seen the meme where it's like. It's that footage of Eggman doing the broadcast, but it's like, I'm here to call out Shadow. He's a punk bitch who like who had sex with my wife or something. Yeah. So Mission Street, I generally think the Tails levels kind of improve as they go. Mm-hmm. So I like this one better than Eternal Engine.
Yeah.
It's more open, so you get a better control of the camera, which helps.
Right.
There's some little bit of platforming in here, which I appreciate.
You get the boost. The
boost,
which is fun.
Makes controlling Tails a lot better.
Much better.
I read the billboard. There's that Tails billboard, the wanted billboard, where it's like it has his stats. And it's like date of birth none, hair fox brown, place of birth none. I guess we're ignoring Coca Island or West Side Island or wherever you want to believe Tails is from. Eyes blue, height small. Yeah,
I love it.
I guess they all have official heights. I think so.
They should, yeah. But...
Complexion fox. Weight light. Okay. Sex male, build small, race fox. It just says fox again for that.
Okay.
Occupation none. He's a NEET.
Yeah, as we all know.
Nationality none. He's $1 million though. Won it.
All right, $1 million. Not bad.
$1 million to find Tails. By the way, there is a mandate. The current mandate right now that Flynn says that Sega told him is that there is no money in the Sonic universe.
Oh.
Except for the fact that, Tails is wanted for $1 million and the Chaotix are always trying to get money. Yeah, that, makes sense completely.
Okay. No money.
I don't know. I think that's just kind of like Sega just being like, Sonic characters aren't greedy. They're not motivated by money except for Vector. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with that. It's like the two world things all over.
Right.
Again.
Yeah. They've moved very far away from the humans in recent times, I feel like.
I just kind of feel like when it comes to Sega mandates, I don't worry about them too much because they're always shifting and changing. Like they'll walk it back eventually.
For sure. Exactly.
I do want to say this. the enemies are very aggressive in this game.
Yes, they are.
I was not expecting that because like in modern Sonic games, like enemies will just stand there.
Yeah,
and like they'll just let you boost.
In Heroes, they do that too.
This game, they're like they're not screwing around.
No,
like,
they're going to shoot. They actually come and shoot at you.
They're going to shoot you if you take too long coming at them.
I did die at the very end of what's it called, Mission City, where you just get there's bombs dropping, there's a million guys shooting at. I did die once from getting shot.
If you don't like, there's a lot of tension when you're doing the shooting missions and you're trying to like get a big combo, and you're like holding it down. You're like, I don't want to get hit because they're gonna break my combo. And it's like, do I release it now and get like a smaller combo, or do I try to get that enemy over there?
Yeah, I didn't. I just was like, boom, boom, boom.
You just
boom,
you went through there.
Yes,
I was going for the A-ranks.
Yeah, I'll have to do that next time. For next time.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Some of those enemies I was really raging at some point. Is there anything you want to add about Mission Street before we continue?
No.
I liked it.
It's okay.
Yeah, I liked it. Then did we skip Pumpkin Hill?
We skipped Pumpkin Hill.
I skipped Pumpkin Hill because I actually really liked that level.
I do too.
I think it's my second favorite Knuckles level.
Yes, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
let's do Pumpkin Hill and Aquatic Mine back to back.
Perfect.
Pumpkin Hill, I was like, this one's great. I always remember I really liked Pumpkin Hill when I was a kid too. You can rock it up high and then you can glide around the area and you can kind of just find the emeralds that way.
It's very
I like how the mountains are very distinct. Like you can kind of easily tell which one's which. There's the Church Mountain, there's the Train Mountain.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic. I like how it's very Halloween.
Yeah, it's Halloween themed.
I like all the music in all the Knuckles stages is great.
I should of course mention that this was based off of Yosemite National Park.
Oh, really?
That's
you got all the facts.
I do. Yeah. Yep. This is the end of them. I'm done after this.
I've been to Yosemite also.
I have too, but I don't remember it very well.
I don't remember there
were no pumpkins,
mountains
unfortunately.
And ghosts.
So this is where the ghosts start. And Sonic Adventure 2, for some reason, is obsessed with ghosts.
I kind of like it.
There's a lot of ghosts around.
I kind of like that ghosts are a thing in Sonic because they're in Sonic 3 also. There's different kinds of ghosts, obviously, but and then the Night of the Werehog, there's ghosts. I've never been ghost in another Sonic thing. I want to say Sonic Rush Adventure might have had ghosts because there's a ghost ship level.
Oh, I don't remember.
But I don't remember. That was a long time ago since I played that.
But yeah, I like the vibe. I like that there's ghosts everywhere.
Yeah.
And I like that Knuckles is the one finding
He's the one
ghosts.
dealing with it.
Well, he's digging up all these graves looking for rings. So I guess it's fair.
Yeah, they're just coming they're coming at him for revenge.
Yeah, they're like, get out of here, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a cool level. I like it. It's fun and it's breezy and you feel good about it. I got like a B rank the first time, so I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I might have gotten. I don't know if that was one of the ones where I got an A rank the first try.
Well, I was definitely reading the computer, so I didn't know.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's no cheap shots in that level.
Yeah.
It's just very. It goes very smooth. It's doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yes.
Then we got Aquatic Mine, which this one I feel a little conflicted on.
This is my favorite one.
This is your favorite one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to. So again, this goes back into being like a little claustrophobic, but I kind of appreciate this level for kind of being puzzly.
Yes, that's what I like about it.
I like that it kind of does something different.
Right.
But on the other hand, I can kind of completely understand why someone might not like this level because it's very confusing.
I know I probably spent 20, 30 minutes in this as a kid.
Yeah.
But playing it through this time, I was like, this is really fun. I really like it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like my opinions shifted a little bit on it. I kind of have an appreciation for it just because it's like they didn't want to just do the same thing that they did in the last two levels. They wanted to kind of change up how the Knuckles level would be.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of like, all right, you got these switches and you lower and you raise the water and then you kind of have to figure out, do you want to go in a certain tunnel with water, without water? Because sometimes there's certain areas that you can only get to with the water.
And did you get the upgrade in this level?
Yeah, so I got all the upgrades.
Okay.
I made sure I beat all the hero levels. I got A ranks all in their first mission. I got all the upgrades, and I beat the boss rush.
Okay.
Before we did.
Yeah. So I did. I did go back and play this level again to get the upgrade. So this
I
is
think
the
I had to
only
go
one
back.
I think I played twice, but I really liked it.
And it's an upgrade that would really help you for this level.
Yes, exactly.
It would be nice to get it before you even like kind of start the level.
Yeah. I guess I was lucky enough in my first playthrough that I didn't have any issues with diving in the water. I got all my crystals pretty easily, so I guess I was just lucky.
It's called the Air Necklace, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like getting it because it's like you have to go through that like really long.
Yeah, that
tunnel,
one's really.
And it's
cool.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, and then you come up and you get the Air
and you
Necklace,
get it, and it's like
oh,
perfect. Yeah, that was
like
cool.
Swim back and not have to worry.
Not worry about it. Yeah, I like this one. I love the music. This is my favorite
Again,
song.
all the Knuckles level.
Yeah.
I Aquatic Mind. So I have a summer playlist of like water levels from video games, and Aquatic Mind's on that. It's for when I swim in the pool during the summer.
There you go, perfect.
Yeah. Great music. I feel like it kind of ranks in the middle though, because like I was like, where do I want to put this in my overall Knuckles level rankings?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't put it above Pumpkin Hill and Meteor Herd, which we'll get to.
Right.
But I feel like it kind of goes in the middle, along with the next one, Death Chamber. But we're gonna get. You have some strong opinions on that.
I do.
This is the one I'm like. This is the level you can get rid of. The driving levels with.
I like the driving level.
You like it?
I like the mini game. I definitely played that a lot as a kid.
As a mini game, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, look. Shadow has 4 levels in this game, and I kind of feel like you could have scrapped a couple things to give him another level.
I know. Well, that's, I guess, one thing we haven't really talked about, but as you go through the game, it's so weirdly... You get 2 Sonic levels, like, or 3 Sonic levels, like, back to back.
Yes.
Then you have a bunch of Tails levels. And then there's a couple Knuckles levels, and Knuckles, you're like... Why is he even in the story for the first half of the game?
Yeah, you're
like, what's he even doing? Yeah, and then he just shows up in a sewer and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And they're like, "Hey Knuckles, we're going to space." And he's like, "All right, cool."
And even then, he's kind of like not really like with them on what they're doing. He's just like, "I'm gonna go with you guys because I'm gonna get more emeralds that way."
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta find that Batgirl.
Yeah, I do feel like they could have done maybe better with spacing the levels out. Like I think Tails has the most levels, right?
No, Sonic does.
Does it? Is
Sonic
it Sonic?
Sonic
Oh, you're right.
So, okay, there's 10 of each, like, level type. So there's 10, like, Sonic Shadow levels. There's 10 Tails Eggman.
Right.
There's 10 Knuckles Rouge.
Okay.
Everyone has 5, except for what they did with Sonic and Shadows. They gave Sonic 6 and Shadow 4.
Okay.
So Shadow kind of gets the short end of the stick, which I think is crazy considering this was almost his only game that he was ever in.
Right. Yeah. Really.
I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who's played Sonic Adventure 2: Shadow dies at the end.
Yes.
But guess what? He gets better.
Yes.
In the next game, he gets better.
Yes.
But this was almost his only game, and he gets only 4 levels, and I kind of feel like that's sad. But yeah, Sonic. I guess they wanted to give Sonic the most levels.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they gave him 6. Yeah. But no, because there is a large stretch of the game, and I feel like that is like the mid-game lull where there's no Sonic.
No Sonic.
You get Tails, Knuckles.
Right.
I think.
It's like Tails, Knuckles.
I think so. It's because it's after Green Forest, it goes Mission Street.
Yep.
Then Pumpkin Hill.
Pumpkin Hill, Mission Street, maybe, yeah.
And then Aquatic Mine, Route 101.
I think so.
And then Hidden Base.
Hidden Base, which I really like Hidden Base.
Hidden Base I like. We'll get.
Level.
I guess we have anything to say about Route 101. I don't really much besides.
I liked it.
You liked it.
It's
I'm
fun.
like, I was like, this is whatever.
It's fast. It's like, who cares? Whatever.
I guess so, but it was just, to me, it was like nothing.
Yeah, I liked hitting all the cars and making them fly off the road. That was
there's one of the missions is I didn't do the other alternate missions for this, but one of the alternate missions is don't touch the sides of the stage.
Oh, cool.
That's going to be very hard to do, and don't touch any cars.
Okay,
is the other one.
That'll be really hard for me.
So
you know what? I do have to bring up. I guess now's the time. I'm probably the only person in the world who thinks about this, but I love the JPEG that they put in the background of the sky. I love the sky JPEG.
Yeah.
It's from Skies of Arcadia originally, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I just love it. It's just the comfiest thing in the world to me. If I could like live in a video game, I would live in Sonic Adventure and just look at the sky JPEG all the time.
Skybox.
Just hang out with it. And I love that when you get close to the city, they just literally just took a picture of San Francisco and just put it on the background. I just love it. It's just comfy for me.
So I have a lot of nostalgic feelings to those skyboxes too, because I loved playing around with Sonic sprites when I was a kid. I used to go on, I don't know, this might take some people way, way back. There was a website called the Mystic Forest Zone, which was like it had like a little web comic on it, like Sonic web comics, but it also had like a lot of sprite sheets.
Right.
And they were just purely Sonic. And I remember like as a kid, I would spend hours on there. And sorry, my phone's going off. But I would spend hours on that website, and they would have like all the skyboxes from Sonic Adventure 2. And I would use them as my backgrounds for my sprite work.
I really want like a high quality version of that.
I think if we go to the Wayback Machine, you can still find all
They're
those.
probably not high quality though.
No, they probably are not high quality. I actually did make a sprite sheet for that website when I was a kid.
Yeah, I got I got the sprites from Skies of Arcadia, and they are very low res images, so I'm guessing that they just don't exist anymore. But
yeah. Well, someone out there, if you're ripping assets from Sonic Adventure 2, get some high quality skyboxes.
Get those skyboxes for me, please. It's like my favorite thing ever. Sorry, that's just very random.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like the Pumpkin Hill skyboxes too. Like,
yeah, they're cool. I like those too. Those are cool.
So then we get to the pyramid section again, when I talked about the ridiculousness of the space shuttle.
Yes.
They're just like, we're going to go here and we're going to go to space. I'm like, why are you guys going to go here to go to space? They just know.
It is also interesting that there's two plot lines for this. So at first, Tails is like, oh, the Chaos Emeralds like attract each other, and I have a Chaos Emerald, so we'll just find them. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And he's like, actually, we're just gonna go talk to the president. I was like,
yeah, we didn't talk about the president cutscene. That is kind of funny to me.
I love that one. Yeah, Sonic just jumps in. He's like, hey, Mr. President, what's up?
It's the over the top, like that era of Sonic, like. We're gonna have Sonic go and like just run into the president,
into his limo while he's just driving,
and like just take like his recording, like he's talking to Eggman, like Eggman's doing like a big terrorist thing, like I'm gonna blow up your country if you don't like submit to my demands.
Yeah, and Sonic's like, I got it, don't worry.
Yeah,
no, I like it, and I think it kind of I like the idea that in the Sonic universe, the government just can't do anything, and it's up to Sonic.
Well, spoiler for Shadow the Hedgehog, because I know you haven't played that yet, but the president falls in love with Sonic. Nice. And he's like, he keeps a picture of Sonic on his desk, and I just imagine him like petting it. It's a picture of Sonic and Shadow. He's just like, oh man, these guys are great. Nice. Like, I love these hedgehogs.
That's awesome. I love it. Pro Hedgehog president.
Yeah, he is. Pro Sonic. Pro Sonic agenda.
Very cool.
Yeah, so Hidden Base I really liked. Again, I think Tails levels I think improve as they go.
Yeah.
This has got a lot going on with like combat areas and areas with platforming, and there's different there's kind of different paths at certain points. There's like a little like maze area which I kind of thought
those
was
are
cool.
Fun.
I don't know, just again, it just keeps getting better with him, and you get to like really play with the boost. What's the I want to say what's the upgrade? Oh, it's the Mystic Melody. That's right. So
I didn't get it.
There isn't an upgrade in this that's like really like the Mystic Melody's kind of just there for the other missions.
You need them for shortcuts, right?
You need them for like hunting chows, because there's that like the find the chow mission.
Right.
Like usually that's what they're used for.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back and do all that later.
I don't know if I have anything to add about Hidden Base though.
I just thought it was fun.
It's just
a fun level.
It's a good level.
It's cool.
You blow up doors and you knock down pillars and you climb on top of the pillars.
It's fun.
I don't think there's many cheap shots in it. I like how there's badniks in Hidden Base, because like there's not a lot of badniks in this game. It's mostly like the gun mechs, because as the enemies types.
Right.
But like every once in a while you'll do like a level where like Eggman is kind of like it's his area, and like you'll fight badniks. So I did like
that's a
like
good point.
The Kikis, I think they're called. Like
they're
the
there.
monkey
The
robots
Kiki monkeys,
and stuff, and the
There's
Orbinauts with the circle guys with the balls that circle them.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, I did want to ask you, in every level there is a golden
beetle.
What's up with them?
Oh, they give you a lot of points. If you hit them, they give you 1,000 points. So if you're trying to get the A ranks, you want to hit them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, I wonder if they give you like a super good item for the chow.
No, they just really help you get a
Got
rank.
it. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they always disappear really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You want to hit them when they come up as fast as you can.
Okay, thank you.
And then after this, you kind of go. There's no cutscene in between. You kind of go right into Pyramid Cave. Is Sonic's level?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about this level.
This level, I kind of have some feelings about this one.
Okay.
I don't want to say it's a bad. I don't think it's a bad level. I think it's a good level mostly, but man, I got frustrated trying to A rank this one.
Okay.
I will say what is bad about it is the tunnel areas where they want you, like, you don't have to run up the side of the walls when you're trying to go for an A rank. You want to kind of go up the side of the wall so you can get like the item monitors with the rings. And you can go through. If you jump through the hoops, they get you points.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah,
the walls are so janky. Like the game does not feel like the surface just feels like it doesn't want you to run up the walls.
Right.
Like, you can, but it's very difficult. Like I found myself like just flying off of them randomly.
Okay.
And I was like, this is not built for the movement that they want you to do here. Like that they're kind of implying they want you to do here with the hoops up there. I was like, this could have used a lot more polish.
Yeah. I don't love the hourglass door thing either necessarily.
That's the other thing I was going to say. I feel like a problem with this level is that it asks you to slow down a lot and like hit switches and carry like little...
It's the marble zone little of keys. Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah. It's just kind of like... It kind of disrupts the flow, I think, of this level. Because which is a shame, because I feel like this level has a lot of great like high speed parts.
For sure.
It. And then it'll be like, stop here and
slow down and get the key and then bring it back.
I don't think it needs that.
It didn't need to.
I did kind of like the part where it was like you get to a door and you can't keep progressing and you kind of have to go through that side area.
I did like that.
You have to bring back a key, which is kind of again, I know this is a thing I'm complaining about.
If it was just the one key, I think it would have been fine.
Or if it was a switch, you kind of just go over there. You know how like there's those like little ball switches you just touch.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
If it was something like that, maybe I would have preferred. Man, those E100 mechs, they're brutal.
They are.
I was raging at them so hard. So many of my failed A attempts were like them shooting me out of the air.
Yeah.
Like they're aggressive.
I was also very sad. I was like, why do I have to kill Gamma over and over again?
They look like Gamma.
Yeah. I should probably mention Gamma as like one of my top 3 favorite Sonic characters of all time.
I don't know anyone who dislikes Gamma.
I love Gamma.
Gamma's
I don't dislike him. I love him. Yeah. I think he's Amy, Metal, Sonic, and Gamma.
What about Big the Cat?
Big's a close.
Sonic Adventure 1 has a lot of your favorite characters.
They did. It does. Yeah. Well, it was the first Sonic game I ever owned.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably never meant. I had a Tiger Electronic.
You
Sonic
didn't have a
3D
Genesis
Blast.
growing up?
No, my first Sega console was a Dreamcast.
But you probably played the classic games.
I played
at someone's house.
Sonic 1 at my cousin's house, and we could never beat Marble Zone.
I never made you play the classic Sonic games with me when we were younger.
Nope.
I know we definitely talked about these games at least.
I think probably because we became friends playing Paper Mario.
Right.
So I didn't even know that you had a Genesis or anything. Oh, yeah. We never talked about it.
I was one of those rich kids. I'm not a rich kid, but I was one of those rich kids that grew up with a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo.
Yeah. My first console was an N64.
I also had an N64 and a PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation 1.
The reason I did is because I had a brother, and my brother would get one console. I would get the other console, and then my brother stopped playing video games, so I just kind of got all of them.
Yeah, I got I had the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox.
Yeah.
So that was my one time that I had everything.
Okay.
But I pretty much got into like playing the Sonic games was all on the GameCube.
Okay. GameCube was a great system for Sonic. I mean, you had the 2 adventures. You had Heroes, Shadow, Mega Collection, which had all the classics. Classics.
I only had Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and Heroes. That was all I
had. I feel like Mega Collection though. We got to do an episode on Mega.
Yeah, I'd love to. I have it now.
It's essentially just games that are probably going to get their own episodes.
Okay, cool.
Mega Collection was just cool because it was just like of the music and like the extra features they had, and it was just really neat.
I'm excited to dive into Gems, and we can get. I just watched a 2-hour video.
We'll do an episode
Sonic the Fighters.
We'll do an episode of maybe like Mega and Gems together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I want to cover some of the collections because there's some like really interesting.
I
collections.
agree. Yeah, that'd be cool.
But back to this game. Pyramid Cave, I just feel really conflicted on because like it has some really brilliant moments, and then it has like some moments where like
down, and
it just could have been better.
And I feel like they do some of the puzzles that are in this level, they do better in Death Chamber anyway.
Probably.
Because they're the same. They're kind of the same puzzles.
Yeah. Which we will get into now.
Yes.
You did not like you did not like Death Chamber.
So
which I understand.
I texted you last night.
I sympathize with the viewpoint.
I was at 15 minutes in. I had just found 2 keys, and I was like, "Man, I hate this level. It sucks." But then, my wife got really upset, and she was like, I haven't been outside in like a while. Like, let's go out to dinner." I was like, "All right, cool." Turned the game off. Went out to dinner. Came back.
Refreshed.
Played it again. I beat the level in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So I changed my mind.
That is that's like a kind of like a real thing where like you get tilted and then you play worse and then you kind of have to like step back for a while and then you come back. I remember when I was doing the boss rush in the Sonic Frontiers DLC, the Titan boss rush. I would just play it for a while, get frustrated. I'm like, I'm gonna put this down because I know I would play better if I came back.
Yeah,
and eventually I beat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very real thing, and it's something that works for me. It's like if you get frustrated, just take a break, go do something else.
And I do think that because of the way that the Knuckles levels are structured, if you could find all 3 keys at once, I don't know if it would be as frustrating. But this is the level that I think is the most. You are stuck in a crypt, and you can pretty much. I mean, there are some shortcuts. But you pretty much just move linearly from room to room.
Yes.
So if you know, like it's
you kind of have to.
You kind of have to.
Yeah. Right. So when I was a kid, I really disliked this one, and I really disliked. There's a Rouge equivalent. It's Egg Quarters, I think it's the name.
Okay.
They're just so claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I keep complaining about the tight, like claustrophobic levels because they're not good. They're just hard. Yeah. They're hard to navigate.
If the camera worked, it'd be a different story.
The camera's a problem.
Yeah.
But I kind of softened my stance on it this time around. I still think this isn't his best level.
No.
But there's kind of a method to the madness in this one. If you move quickly and you kind of move through the perimeter of the level as much as you can. Sometimes you're kind of pushed to the center of the level and you have to go in the middle.
Yeah, sometimes you do, but not always.
You just kind of have... It's a shame because in this level you can't like the other Knuckles levels, you can't just glide around and try to catch something on your radar.
Exactly.
You have to stay low. You have to move fast through the different rooms and try to get that ping on your radar to come up.
I did have a weird one where the key was in... I think it was in the green room. There's like a top area where you have to climb up the wall and like find like the highest point and then glide over into like an alcove. Okay. That drove me wild. I could not find the alcove. It was beeping red. And I was like, where is this key? And it was in a very weird place.
You remember that the treasure hunting stages, like they reset the locations every time you restart the level.
Yeah, right? I know that. Yeah.
Now I think, and I want to look this up because I didn't play the hard mode missions. I think that in hard mode, they're in set areas, which actually kind of makes it.
Oh, that makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Sonic Adventure 2, hard mode treasure hunt. I'm gonna look this up because I'm curious. Yeah, they're always in the same spot.
Okay.
So that actually kind of makes it easier for those levels.
Yeah, yeah.
The only hard mode I did for City Escape, I did all the missions. Okay. So I don't know if I mentioned that. I might have. But I did. That's the only hard mode stage I did. It was a little bit harder. It wasn't that crazy.
All right.
But yeah. So I'll have to go back and try doing all these missions again, see how the treasure hunting missions pan out in hard mode. But
yeah,
I think some of those areas, like the weird like little hidden places and stuff that you can find, like that, some of those emerald pieces or the keys in this level will be hidden there in the hard mode.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, whatever.
The upgrade was easy to find in this level. I don't know if you found it right away.
I think I did. Yeah. You just run in and punch the wall. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I did.
It's the
to get into the metal knuckles,
the metal claws, which you kind of need.
You need them, you absolutely need them to finish the level. Yes, yeah.
Then you get to 2 boss fights. You get 2 boss fights in a row. This is where you stopped, right?
this is where I stopped in this playthrough,
Okay.
and this is where where Knuckles finally has to deal with the fact that he's been desecrating graves his entire life.
He's finally paying for all the
sins
crimes he did
against ghost kind.
Yeah. This is probably my least favorite hero boss fight. It's just kind of really repetitive and long. And drawn out. I do appreciate the fact that you can punch King Boom Boom twice in one cycle.
You can,
if you're very quick.
If you're quick.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
That. It is.
I actually struggled doing it. I remember doing it all the time as a kid, but it took me a while to get used to it again.
I kind of also don't like that. I feel like the timing is awkward where you're trying to get. You kind of have to wait until he's in an attack animation to run all the way behind him to get him.
Yeah. Egg Golem, I thought was a pushover. I was like, man,
I remember that being.
Did you fight him? You didn't fight him.
But I remember this boss.
He's a pushover.
Yeah, he's easy.
I was like, man, I was surprised how fast he went.
Yeah.
And again, I fought him again in the boss rush. It was like the same thing. I was like, you just get behind him, you jump on his little platforms, and then you can even homing attack up the last three, and then hit him in the head. I think it's funny. It's like, it's obviously like video game logic, but it's like, why did Eggman put these platforms in the back of the robot and then put the obvious like weak point on top of his head?
Same reason he does it with every other thing he creates. Yeah.
It's just video game logic. I don't want to think too hard about it. Then we get to obviously the space shuttle cutscene. They go again. We're getting into the territory you haven't played this, but I might as well refresh you. They go into space. They get hit by. They fly. They don't get hit by. They kind of just fly right into an asteroid.
Yep.
And the emeralds spill out. This is like the part where the audio for the lines, the line readings, they're like really messed up and out of sync. Because it's like Knuckles is like, oh, they're like, don't take the controls, Knuckles, but like they're saying it like after he's already like zooming out. They're like, oh no, he's grabbing the controls, but they're already like flying off.
Yeah, they're probably trying to make it funny, but
I think they were trying to like fit it in like with the cutscene. Like they were trying to get like. They only had like a certain runtime, and they were trying to fit everything in. It just, I don't know.
And again, awkward. It might be much. I should probably just any game that's voiced. I should probably just listen to the Japanese now as a rule. But
I know the Japanese is considered better for these games. I remember back in the day,
it's considered better because
a lot of people swore by
speak Japanese. That's why they're better. There's the great when you first meet Amy in Sonic Adventure 1, she's like, "Yay!"
Well,
Sonic da. Yay.
Well, the funny thing is with the Japanese voice cast is that it's never changed.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas the American voice cast, they keep changing it like constantly.
Yes.
In
Japan,
it's always been the same guy voicing Sonic. It's always been the same guy voicing Robotnik.
Yeah. If you have a job in Japan as a voice actor, you are that character until you die.
Yes.
Actually, the big news recently. The guy who does Eggman in Japan.
Junichi Kanemaru?
Yeah, he sounds like he's not I don't know. It sounds like he's not doing well because he is not doing the voice of Eggman in Prime Season 3.
I saw that today. Yes.
Yeah, so that dates the episode.
It dates the episode.
That's
you don't know when we're releasing this. Could be a month from now.
Yeah, that's the big news now with that. So it is a big deal in Japan when a voice actor stops playing that role.
Right.
Like the woman who plays Goku has been playing Goku since the 80s.
Yes.
And she will die.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do with Dragon Ball when
right.
but we're not a Dragon
she
Ball.
She probably has an understudy or something. But that's really how it is in Japan. Definitely. I need to listen to the Adventure 2 a little bit, and maybe when we do Dark Story, I'll come back. But it's better, but it's not necessarily amazing. Let me just put it that way. The same kind of production values.
I'm sure it gets better with them as they go too. Like same thing with the English,
the same way that English gets
the English voice. I mean, they change them out as they go, but like I even find with like the next generation, I don't know if you want to call them generation, but the next generation of Sonic voice actors, which is the 4Kids cast with Jason Griffith, they kind of improve too as they go, and then they replace them again with the Roger Craig Smith group. Yeah, and I kind of even feel like they improve as they go too.
I feel that way too. I thought Frontiers was like
Roger
fantastic. Craig
is more comfortable with the Sonic role now than he was back in 2011 when he did, or 2010 when he did Sonic Colors. Yeah. So we're in space now.
Yep. We get the Knuckles.
This is when they reveal that Tails is the fake Chaos Emerald.
Yes.
Which, again, Tails just has a Chaos Emerald in this game. They don't need to explain it because sometimes characters just have Chaos Emeralds. Yeah. But he did a special stage off screen.
Yeah, whatever. You know.
He's like, oh no, he was awarded the Chaos Emerald for saving Station Square in Adventure 1.
That's right.
That's the one. That's why they gave him the Chaos Emerald. Right. I don't know why Station Square had a Chaos Emerald after Perfect Chaos.
They got it from Tails when he crashed the tornado the first time.
Well, then Sonic uses it when he fights Perfect Chaos, but we don't see what I usually see the emeralds are like the Dragon Balls. They just fly off at the end.
Yep.
That's usually kind of how they show it. When they do show it, they show them like kind of like in Frontiers. They show the emeralds just kind of shooting off.
Shoot off, yeah. And I assume that's what happened.
But somehow Station Square got a hold of the Chaos Emerald. They gave it to Tails as a reward. It's the yellow Chaos Emerald.
Yes, of course.
And then he makes a fake one based on that. It's got the same wavelengths and properties, but it's not as powerful as the real one.
Right.
So we'll bring that up later because we have to get to that cutscene. So then the first level is Eternal Engine, which you haven't done. This is, I think, is my favorite Tails level.
Okay.
It's a little, again, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because it is one of the more tighter levels with the geometry. Can't move the camera around as much. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's still like easy to see. It's easy to get around. There's a lot of challenge in this level. I think it's a good amount of challenge.
Okay.
I like the tension with like there are doors that you can't blow off or it'll open up to the vacuum of space and you can't get sucked out.
That's cool.
So you have to kind of be careful where you aim. Mm-hmm. And like if you want to shoot them down, they give you points for shooting them down. So like you can have that option of like, do I go for the points, but also like create another hazard for myself? Right. I think that's fun.
That's cool.
This was like the level when I was a kid. I was like, I don't like Tails levels because I found this level to be kind of janky and I had trouble like I found like the controls were kind of clunky. But I still think they're kind of clunky with the mech. But I don't know. I coming back to it, I was like, I kind of really actually like this level. I think it's cool. You get the bazooka, which lets you shoot the iron crates with Tails.
Right.
And it's kind of mandatory to get, so you have to get it. There's the sequence at the end is kind of fun where you kind of like stay on a platform and it kind of locks you in a place.
I remember that. Yeah.
You shoot like the engine, it's like shooting projectiles at you.
That. Yeah, that's cool.
So if I had to rank the Tails level, since my personal ranking, I would say Eternal Engine, then Pyramid Cave, then Mission Street, then Prison Lane, then Route 101. It's my last one.
Basically going backwards.
Go in order except for Route 101.
Route 101 is an
it's not even real.
It's not really a Tails
like a different
stage.
thing.
It's a mini game.
It's almost like Tails has 4 levels instead of 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, Route 101 doesn't count. Yeah,
honestly. Then you get the Knuckles. You get Meteor Herd, which is
yes.
I think this is the best Knuckles level.
Okay.
This barely edges out Pumpkin Hill for me. I love this level. It's completely vertical.
Yes.
Like almost completely vertical.
And it has gravity.
You rocket up to the top and then you kind of just like you glide around in a circle and you just kind of fall slowly down and you try to catch an emerald on your radar.
Yeah.
Until you get to the bottom, and then if it's on the bottom, you kind of have to circle around the base of the tower.
Right.
But man, I just think this level's cool. I love the music. The meteors are relentless though, so you have to keep moving or else they really screw you up. I just think it's cool. There's like a lot of different like kind of like parts to it. Like there's the surface level, then there's like the tower, and then as you're climbing, there's like these platform parts. There's the part with these like containers that you can kind of explore, and then you got to get to the very top where there's like there's another tower kind of like coming down from the roof of the arc. And you can kind of like circle around that. And there's like areas up there. There's a lot of variety in this area. It's big. It's open. I don't know. I just really like Meteor Herd.
Okay.
I think it's the best Knuckles level, personally. You get the Knuckles Rouge fight, which is...
I do remember this.
Not
that
hard.
One's easy, right?
Not hard, no. But this, kind of embarrassing. I was doing it in the boss rush, and... I started the boss rush and I like took a step towards her and she just immediately kicked me and I died.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I guess I should have grabbed a ring.
Yeah.
Instead of like run right towards her. It's a little frustrating trying to figure out how they want you to hit her.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, the same goes for the Rouge versus Knuckles fight when
Right.
you're doing it the other way around.
Right.
But they kind of want you to do is they kind of want you to glide over her and then like hit her, like dive down and hit her.
Okay.
Which is kind of hard to do because she's a small target.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's like, it's easy to kind of lose. I remember as a kid too, it's kind of easy to lose track of her because like
she kind of blends into the background a little bit.
And if they're in a different part of the level, because like the level opens up, like the middle opens up and they send you flying up in the air, and you kind of have to fight like on the, I don't want to call it scaffolding, but the little platforms on the edge of the stage.
Yeah.
You have to fight kind of there. And eventually it closes back up if you take long enough and you can go back into the middle again. I think it just kind of cycles through.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just a small target and it's easy to lose track of each other. So if anything takes a long time in this fight, it's kind of that. It's just kind of like finding each other and trying to hit each other. Yeah. Not much else to say about that. You get that very sensual scene where they're breathing very heavy.
The first and last time they ever have romance.
Yeah, kind of. Well, there's a game where they're Sonic Rivals 2. They're teamed up together.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if you ever played that.
I know of it. Yeah.
I played the Rivals games like once, like a long time ago.
They're on PSP, right?
Yeah, we'll get to them.
I guess we'll get to them.
Yeah. There's a in Rivals 2, they kind of pair certain characters up. So
I do remember
Sonic and Tails are paired up, which is not very imaginative.
No.
But Knuckles and Rouge are teamed
Okay.
up. Shadow and Metal Sonic are teamed up in that game.
Ooh, cool.
And Espio and Silver.
Okay.
Cool. But we're not doing Sonic Rivals 2 right now.
No.
But it's just interesting to bring up.
Oh, you know what? I should have mentioned that.
Yes.
Obviously, the space levels in Sonic Adventure 2 were based on outer space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
That's where they got their inspiration from.
I thought they were based on Philly.
Should have mentioned that.
But what's the next level? It's Meteor Herd and then Okay, so the last two are Sonic levels. Crazy Gadget.
Mm-hmm.
This was the level I was like, wow, I really remember this game really well. I ranked this level. Oh, I didn't rank the Knuckles levels. Well, should I do that?
Yeah, do that.
Meteor
you said
Herd,
Pumpkin Hill's your
Meteor
favorite.
Herd and Pumpkin Hill are the top two, and I think in that order.
Okay.
And then I think, oh man, Death Chamber above Aquatic Mine or the other way around.
Just do me dirty. Go for it.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'm gonna put Aquatic Mine above Death Chamber. I'm gonna do that.
Good.
And then Wild Canyon. Look, I don't dislike Wild Canyon. I think the other four have interesting things going on, whether it be like it's just fun to play because it's big, wide, spacious, and there's a lot of cool things, landmarks and stuff.
Yeah.
Or it's like Aquatic Mine or Death Chamber where it's just got like a gimmick to it and it's puzzly.
Right.
Wild King's just kind of basic, so that's why I kind of put it on the bottom.
I agree with that.
But it's not bad. I don't dislike Wild Canyon. It's just kind of where I put it. But Crazy Gadget's a very long level. There's a lot to it. I was amazed by how much I remember it because there's the last room where it's a bunch of colored blocks floating in space, and it's kind of maze-like where you have to find the right switch to hit to go to the right color block, and it's all gravity-based, so you're walking on the side of the blocks, you're walking on the bottom. I remember the path exactly. I did not forget the path. I knew I went to every switch like right away. Did not have any problems. I was like, wow, this game really's been in my mind, ingrained in my mind for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But I feel a little hypocritical not complaining about this level when I did complain about Pyramid Cave. Like, Pyramid Cave has a lot of parts where you have to like hit switches and put keys and things, where this level's kind of the same, where it kind of has like some switches that you got to hit. But I just didn't really have as much of a problem with this one as the other ones. I feel like you run up to the switch really fast, you hit the button, and then you just kind of keep going. I guess it does kind of slow down the flow of things a little bit, but I don't know. This one didn't bother me as much.
I do want to cut in for a minute. This is where you get those chaos-like enemies start
the artificial chaos. They're very aggressive.
I hate those enemies. They're the worst. The big blobs, and they shoot the tendrils at you.
And then there's one where it kind of like gives birth to a bunch of little ones, and you kind of have to bounce bracelet over them.
I hated those guys. I remember just like killing them over and over again. Like, I hate you, die.
Oh man, they're rough. They're like the E100s. They're pretty aggressive.
Right.
I want to say there is a level that I was getting frustrated on, and it might have been Internal Engine, and I did say I liked that level, so whoops. Where you would open a door and there would be like an enemy immediately standing behind the door, and it kind of like, I was like, come on, man. There's like some cheap shots in the game. I do have to say that. One negative is like there is some cheap enemies, and that's the other thing with Eternal Engine. Going back to it, there's some enemies that will shoot you from off screen, and I was getting so mad at it. I was like, all right, come on, man. Like, I don't even see the enemy, and it's shooting me from off screen. Like, I don't know, trying to get my combo up. But, that's mostly a problem on the Tails stages. I don't feel like that's as much of a problem on the other guys, but crazy. But I still like Crazy Gadget. I thought it was mostly fun. The upgrades, the flame ring, so you can that is a mandatory upgrade. It's so you can go through the metal boxes with Sonic.
Right.
I like how there's just an upgrade, like you can just go through metal boxes now.
It's fine.
It's kind of very Zelda-y. It's like, you got to get the item to be able to get through this obstacle. That's everywhere.
Fine, I'm good with that.
Then the final level is in competition with City Escape for me. It is the grind rail level.
Yes.
Revel. It's Final Rush.
Right.
And it's in space.
Yes.
This is the level. Now, I was like, do I rank this up high because it's kind of very gimmicky in the fact that it's like almost all grind rails. It's not all grind rails, but
mostly grind rails.
A lot of grind rails. Yes, because this level's cool because it actually has like branching paths in it.
Yes.
And it's interesting because of that. And there's a lot of like cool speedrun tech you can do.
Can I tell you about my favorite branching path in this level? Because it is...
Is it the one where you can like jump off the side and there's like a grind rail like all the way at the bottom?
Yes. That's it.
Yeah.
Because we used to play, because in the multiplayer mode, this is one of the levels that you race through.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit different, but it's basically this level. And we used to just sit there and practice. It was my cousin, my brother, and I. We would sit there and practice so that we could get to the point where you can just jump down and skip like half the level. And we got really good at doing it.
Now, the funny thing is like, I'm not a huge fan of bottomless pits in Sonic.
I'm not either. Yeah.
This level's all bottomless pit. It's just like it's stuff over bottomless pit.
It is, but it's there's something fun about it.
It's the last level, so you can kind of forgive it for being challenging, and B, it's also like you can see that you're above a void.
Yeah, you're in space.
You're not like it's not cheap.
Right.
You know that if you make a mistake, you're going to fall to your
down.
death.
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
It's not a surprise to you.
Right.
But I don't know, man. This level's it's just fun. I just thought it was really fun to speed run. There's so many different like paths you can go down. There's so many little shortcuts, like the speed run tech we were talking about. It's not. The enemies aren't too overbearing in this level.
Yeah.
There's not really even a lot of enemies in this level.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of opportunities to rack up points. I don't know. I just generally think it's fun. There's a little set piece at the end where you're running from space debris that's chasing you down a hallway. You get the Mystic Melody in this level. But I was always under the opinion, like I like to think in my head, like if Sonic Generations had a second level for each game that was in Sonic Generations, what would be the second level? Because Cityscape's the level in for Sonic Adventure 2 in Sonic Generations. What would be the second level? And I always think of this one. I'm like, I think Final Rush should maybe be the second Sonic Adventure 2 level.
Yeah.
I know in the 3DS version they put Radical Highway, which isn't even a Sonic level, it's a Shadow level.
Funny. Yeah, it is,
which I mean, I understand they put Radical Highway in because it's very iconic.
It's a good,
It's like it's in the intro of the game,
right?
Where you see Shadow on top of the bridge. And, but
what bridge is that?
Oh, the Golden Gate.
It is not the Golden Gate.
It's not the
Golden
Gate.
It's another bridge in San Francisco, and they just colored it
Like the Golden Gate?
Like the Golden Gate Bridge for fun.
No, all right.
Yep. No, that's my last.
I think they're
fun
all
fact.
colored like the Golden Gate in this.
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just that was my last fun.
It's
fact.
the most iconic bridge in.
Right.
It's probably the most iconic bridge in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I would
so.
say it is. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just like this level a lot, even though we were complaining about how the grinding is not the best in this game.
If you're not good at it by the end of the game, that's on you. You know?
I didn't have trouble balancing on the rails in this one. If you, I kind of found that I wasn't like getting like all floppy,
That's
like
good.
like falling off.
Yeah, I'll have to let you know when we record our next episode how
you
I
felt
did
about
with
it. When you're gonna have to beat the end of Hero and do Dark,
Yes,
I guess, by the
that's
next
fine.
time. We'll get your thoughts on the end of the
Yes.
Hero campaign. The cutscene. Oh, we didn't talk about the cutscene in between Crazy Gadget and
right.
Final Rush. Let's talk
Yeah,
about that because
okay.
that's the cutscene, and we didn't talk about the boss fight either. So between those two levels, Sonic takes the fake emerald. He's going to put it in the Ark because Eggman's going to fire the
Eclipse
Ark at
Cannon.
United Federation.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to fire it at the country, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And Sonic's going to put the fake emerald in because if he does that, it's going to blow up the Eclipse Cannon.
Right.
And Eggman kidnaps Amy. He's got her at gunpoint.
Right.
And literally holding a rifle at her head, which is, again, this
Nice.
is like the craziness that this game deals with. It's like a cartoony, like plasma looking rifle.
Right, but
it's not
still.
an actual gun.
Right,
Like
but
we're not in
still.
Shadow the Hedgehog territory
Right.
yet.
Not yet.
But it's still kind of like a dark cutscene for Sonic.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Yeah.
an edgy cutscene for sure. And then we get that. Instead of bringing it to the Eclipse Cannon, he's just going to give it to Eggman directly because he's like, "Oh, all right, well, I guess, you really got us. You really got us by the
Yeah.
balls now,
Yeah.
Eggman."
Yeah.
And nope, it's all a trap. Eggman's going to put Sonic in a capsule and then blow him up in space.
Yes.
And really, kind of like the most serious Eggman's ever been in the
Yeah.
games, at least.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was listening to Anne Flynn's podcast, the Bumblecast. I think it was a recent episode. I forget what the date is. I think it was early January. He said, we can't really say that Eggman wouldn't kill anyone because he clearly did try to kill Sonic in Adventure 2. Like, that's true. He will kill his enemies if they really get in his way.
Right.
As Adventure 2 established.
Yeah.
But just so happened by chance that Sonic uses Chaos Control, and that's the first time Sonic ever uses Chaos Control. I'm under the opinion that Chaos Control is very underutilized in the franchise. It was used very frequently back in these days, like when Adventure 2 came out. We had it shows up again in Heroes. Metal Sonic uses it. Shadow uses it. It shows up. It's in Sonic X. Chaos Control has a big part in Sonic X. It shows up in the comics and stuff like that. But 06, they use Chaos Control. Obviously, Shadow's game, they use Chaos Control. But like after that, kind of drops off a cliff. We were watching Sonic Prime and Shadow uses it. And I was like, oh my god, he uses Chaos Control. They remember Chaos Control.
The first episode,
It's kind of become a Shadow only ability.
Definitely.
Sonic can use it, Silver can use it, but Metal Sonic can use it, but we never really see them use it.
Yeah, I guess it's probably like in universe, the explanation is probably Shadow's like the best at it, and the others it's like really hard for them to do.
I think Shadow was kind of made for it, and
I think so.
And like I think in Sonic's case too is he probably won't he probably wouldn't use it unless he really has to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If if you push him into a corner, and he's got a Chaos Emerald, he's going to use it. But like in this game, he was
exactly
about to die, so he's like, I got no choice, I got to try this. So, so then he Chaos Controls, Knuckles finds him, then he goes to Final Rush. Talked about Final Rush. Then we get to the last fight. I love the cuts. I've always loved it. The cutscene where him and Shadow are kind of like talking to each other and staring each other down, and they're increasing speed.
Yes.
I love the internet version where they're arguing about if it's pronounced GIF or GIF.
Right. Yeah, yes.
I don't know if anyone's seen that video, but it's great. But no, that's speaking of things that live rent free in my mind. I know the dialogue to that cutscene. Like I've always had that memorized. Like it's like, well, what can you say? I die hard. You actually saved me. You know, it's like it wasn't Chaos Emerald, wasn't it? You know, I know that whole script. But the boss fight itself, okay. For True Story is one of the best Sonic songs. I love For True Story. I love the Sonic Generations version. I know there are people who are like, oh, when that, at least when that game came out, I remember in 2011, people were like, I don't like this version of For True Story. I like the original version. Like, I think the original version is better, but I kind of like that weird, like, it's kind of electronic-y sounding version of For True Story they did in Generations. But great song. I think it's a great, it's like, to me, that's like the definitive Sonic versus Shadow theme music is For True Story. That boss fight is pretty easy. It's you literally just let Shadow run in front of you.
Yeah,
you wait till he does Chaos Spear and you hit him.
Yeah,
and you can even kind of hit him before that a couple times. So there's really not much to say about it. I do like the line delivery. Like again, Shadow's voice actor's name,
David
Humphrey,
something like that.
Yeah, David Humphrey. He has a great delivery with that. I'll show you the true power, chaos control. Yes. I love that. Like I don't know, that to me, I always thought that was really cool. But yeah, not much to say about the boss battle besides it's got a lot of style to it.
For sure,
it's an easy fight.
Yeah.
I guess there's a little bit of tension though with the floors falling down behind you, and you could fall to the void. But yeah, beat the game, and you get the cutscene where Sonic blows up the Eclipse Cannon. And then he's kind of just standing out there on like a pole. I was I was still like, how did he get there?
In space, you know.
It's like, how did he get off of there?
Right.
But don't think too hard about it. I again, I kind of spoiled you on this recently. But the Eclipse Cannon shows up again in Shadow the Hedgehog,
right? And
it's used again in Shadow the Hedgehog. I wonder. I forget if there's a line in Shadow the Hedgehog. I feel like there isn't, but. Did the Eclipse Cannon not blow up in this game, and I guess it's okay again by Shadow?
Again, I like to imagine Eggman just running around like fixing things and making little bases and stuff. Maybe
the Black Arms fix it off screen in that game.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Possibility, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that kind of tech, but they're intergalactic space travelers, so maybe they do
figure it out. Yeah.
But I guess that kind of sums up the hero mode.
Yep.
I did the boss rush too. I mean. It's just all the bosses we talked about. So I just flew through that. Like I said, I got kicked by Rouge in the face.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. That was all my dreams coming true, was getting Rouge to step on me.
Nice, yeah. I'd want her to use another part of her body personally, but that's whatever. You do you.
There's a couple parts of her body that were modeled very much more in detail than they are in recent stuff.
Yes, definitely.
They kind of toned that down in recent releases. Yeah. Dude, I didn't mention some of the power-ups, like you get the magic hands from City Escape. You have to kind of go back after you beat all the other levels to get it, because you need you need the bounce bracelet, you need the flame bracelet. I don't know if the power-ups are there. They're mostly there to do like the other missions.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can talk about that at a later time, like clean up.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about like I think when we do the last story, we'll probably talk about like other game modes.
I think
there's a
so,
lot of them. Maybe we should get together and do some 2-player.
We definitely should, because I will destroy you in some of the races. Because I played a lot of it as a kid.
Well, you could play as Amy or Metal Sonic.
Yes, nice.
Or
Chaos is in there too, right?
Chaos and Tikal are in the treasure hunting,
right?
And you play as Chow's with the shooting missions.
Right, that's right.
Big was in the original.
They took him out for some reason.
I actually never saw that.
Big in a mech, man.
I kind of have to look it up. Is he in a mech?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I have to look that up now. I'll have to look that. Well, maybe next time when we get more in depth of the game.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So I think that sums up our feelings on the hero story.
Yeah.
Generally, like I went through. So when I first played this game, I was like. When I was a kid, I was like, this is one of the greatest games like ever.
Yes.
I love Sonic Adventure 2. It's one of the best Sonic games.
Me too.
I went through a phase where I was like, it's not that good. It's not, it's aged pretty bad.
Overrated,
it's overrated.
Camera's not good.
I went through my classic purist phase where I was like, oh, the classic games are the only games that matter.
Yeah.
It's not that good. It's overrated.
You can't even get the Chaos Emeralds.
Going back to it, look, it's got its flaws,
Yeah.
but I still think it's a pretty fun game.
I agree.
Especially if you're willing to overlook its jank and kind of take it for what it is with that camera being what it is. And
I do really feel like if you were somebody who wanted to get into Sonic, be like, what's Sonic all about? You have to play Sonic Adventure 2 because it's such an important part of the franchise.
I agree. But with an asterisk with it, because like again, it by modern standards, a lot of things about this game have not aged well. And
I agree with that.
You're gonna if you go into this like this is your first like 3D Sonic experience, you're gonna get very frustrated. I just think that you never played Sonic, you never played a 3D Sonic game before, and you start with this or Adventure 1. I feel like you're gonna get frustrated.
You would, but I think that's. I don't know. For me, I think that's part of it because that these were my first 3D Sonic games.
No, that's true, but
that's the first 3D Sonic.
But I mean,
games.
we were younger back then, and this is what we had.
No, that's true. But I just think it's such an important
3D games had a lot of growing pains back
for
then
sure.
too.
But I think knowing that is also important. So you see really how
that's what I'm saying. You just got to understand this is the time it came out. This is one of the first 3D Sonic games.
Definitely.
In a series that's generally known to be like it's got a lot of jank in a lot of Sonic games. So
in the 3D era.
Yeah. But I mean, they're far worse games.
Yes.
I don't want to say that because it makes it sound like I'm rating this low, and I know like there are some die-hard Adventure 2 fans that will rake us over the coals.
I think for me, I think I like this better than Adventure 1. And
I'll have to go back and replay Adventure 1.
I haven't played a lot of the other ones.
Some things I liked better about Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah. I think I can probably say this is my favorite 3D Sonic game that I've played.
Okay. That's fair.
But I've only played this
like
Adventure 1 and Frontiers. So
okay. And you played a little bit of Dream Team.
Little bit. Yeah, if we're counting that, yeah.
I kind of count it, yeah. I think this game would really benefit from a remake.
Yes, I think
Adventure 1 and 2 would benefit from a remake. I think that's how you would kind of like you would get the full potential of this game. Yes. Like I don't know if you would add like the boost kind of mechanics to this.
Yeah,
I think you could.
You could.
You would maybe have to make the levels like a little bit bigger, but I think there are a lot of parts where it's like I think this would be like there was a lot of stretches of levels where I like hey, you could boost through this if the boost was in this game.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I kind of like the natural like just tilting the control stick and having him run, but he does feel a lot slower than he does in like the modern games because there isn't like that rush of boost. The rush of speed you get,
and I do kind of always forget that you can just spin dash.
Yeah,
and a lot of that it's like if you feel like you're going slow, it's like well maybe I should just spin dash them.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I kind of would. I know fans have been clamoring for Adventure 3 for a while, and it never seems to be happening, at least not the way.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the next 4 games we're gonna play are all Sonic Adventure 3 in my heart. So
well, we're doing Heroes. I think this is sorry Sonic Heroes fans, but I think we're gonna be going downhill. Personally, Sonic Heroes does not rank very highly, at least from what I remember. It's been a long time since I played it.
Yeah,
but we'll see when
It'll
we get
be
there.
Fun, yeah.
All right. Well, I think next time we'll get to the dark story. We'll come back. We'll talk more about we'll talk more facts about Sonic Adventure 2 next time.
Yes.
So
I'll see if I can find any.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Until next time, we'll see you in the next zone. Take care.